2. Wait a minute, 3, 2.
All right. Good evening or afternoon or whenever you're listening to this. I am Possum.
And I am Frosty.
And together we are Frosty Possums. Today we're doing a spoilers video on the movie BOAR from 2017. It's an Australian film about a giant feral hog.
Big hog. Big pig.
The biggest
Big pig.
pig I've seen. So,
a big pig with personality, even.
It starts out with a couple driving down the road, and they suddenly are stopped by a herd of little piggies running across the road. And they're sitting there, and all of a sudden a little piggy goes flying, and they're like, what the? And about that time, something like a train hits the side of their vehicle and knocks them out. Now, knocks the car over and knocks them out of the vehicle, and it's referenced later in the movie. So the question is, did this movie scared the hell out of me? And yeah, it kind of did. Probably about a level 5 scare. Because feral hogs are rather scary to begin with. Did it scare the hell out of you?
Not so much, but I will say that I have had experience with the piggies down here in Louisiana at night with nothing but a catch rope. Now, I assure you, I have not seen any piggy as big as that piggy was.
No, this dang thing was as big as a bus.
Yeah, it was very, very large, very, very large. I will say this, and I think I told you during the movie, as a matter of fact, when the big hog hit the little hog and knocked him across the that actually goes on in the livelihood of the pigs. They that's one of the ways that they do their pecking order. The bigger ones will just lay into them. So, but that I was trying to think of where my anxiety got maybe the highest. I think it was not related to the pig, but I think it was related to maybe the bully in the cafe that was verbally, sexually assaulting the owner, kind of thing. But I'm going to go ahead and do this prematurely. But I really enjoyed this movie. I think it was pretty great.
Well, I'm going to say it's the same thing. It's kind of starts off as a B movie, kind of, but I have to give it a high rating because it kind of went above and beyond. The silliness of a hog that big was kind of overshadowed with the performances, however they did the pig, probably CGI. A lot of the pig sequences are close-ups of the pig's head, which I'm thinking they didn't have to do much acting because the pig head was pretty realistic, and if you had stuck that in my face, I wouldn't have had much trouble acting scared. It was pretty terrifying.
Yeah, and but they gave the pig, the hog, they gave it personality. Did you notice in there that like it was almost like the hog was listening to them talk at times, and then some of some of the hog's actions or reactions to them surprised me. I mean, it wasn't just blind fury, attack, 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 attack. I mean, it was like the hog was trying to figure things out, or it was pretty remarkable. I've watched lots of these hog movies that are in the outback and stuff, but I've never seen one like this one.
No, I have to agree. The story goes on. This actor that played the killer in what was it? Creek, the Creek movie.
Will Creek?
No, anyway,
it's the one that
he played the serial killer in another Australian movie, but he plays the father of the owner of the pub, and he and his friend, kind of comic relief. They're out there, they're drunk as Cooter Brown, and they see a campfire, and they're looking through the scope of a rifle trying to figure out what's going on in that camp. Meantime, a couple were about to engage in some stuff, and she sent him out of the tent for snacks, I believe, and
check on the other couple.
And check on the other couple. You know, are they there listening, going to be able to listen to us? The next thing you know, you hear this noise. She's in the tent. Of course, that's scary when they show shadows and don't really show what's going on outside the tent. And, of course, the hog gets him. But she's trying to figure out whether she should open the tent or not. And when she does, the hog eats her.
It kills me that the tents are always the wall, the protection wall. I mean, that hog could
easily,
literally bite tent and all. So it's kind of funny to watch them. They'll do that zipper, that magical zipper that's keeping them all safe.
And so the two old drunk men come upon the flattened tent and the bodies of that couple. And we're all sitting there going, well, where's the other couple that they were talking about? They're off in the woods. He's telling her spooky stories and then trying to get her to shut up because he hears a noise. And, of course, that becomes a bad situation.
But I want to back up just a second and talk about the two older guys. I thought their emotional reactions to the scenes, I mean, they put more into it than what I expected. Our serial killer guy, he was, even when he pounded the other girl, he was emotionally upset.
Yeah.
About and that's normally you don't see that. Here on Big Tough, Crocodile Dundee, that's not a knife, this is a knife kind of thing, and he was, more so. I did hate this. I did remember, guys, this is spoiled rotten spoilers. I did hate the fact that the old guy got killed. He was going toe to toe with that old hog, though. You got to give him that. But anytime you fire one round at a hog and then you have no more bullets, it's time to go back to the truck anyways, But I wanted to ask you about, because you had mentioned that you had seen this guy. One of the actors, I think it's he's the one who saved the owner of the bar. He's a huge Australian guy. He had a significant nose-to-nose encounter with the hog as well. What was his name?
Well, the name of the serial killer movie is Wolf Creek. And the other guy's name is Nathan Jones. This actor is about as big as the hog.
He did. I mean, which it's pretend and all, but he went toe to toe with that hog. I mean, he was big enough to go toe to toe with that hog.
And that probably the first time I saw it was the scariest part for me. Was they get into this old barn that you're kind of going, yeah, right, that's going to protect them. And against that hog, it was like balsa wood. But him opening the door.
And there was the hog.
And there was the hog.
And the hog was looking at him like, that's what I'm saying. They put some emotional, I don't know what word, intellect in with it. It was like the hog was going like, I'm going to scare him when he opens up that door. And it's like, oh, he did get scared. See, I told you I was going to scare him. It was just, it's like that. It was pretty amazing. I like that about it.
When he drags the guy out and the guy is hurt and he's trying to crawl back to the knife for the safety of the barn, and the hog just steps on his back.
Yeah.
Doesn't eat him up, just steps on his back.
And a couple of times there, it was like he was incapacitating them. It wasn't that he was just like ritually tearing them to shreds. And don't get me wrong, this pig does some damage, but it surprises you at times.
Yeah, it was like he wasn't hungry anymore. He was just playing.
Well, and when he had that, and they mentioned that in the movie, when he had the girl in his mouth, he walking around with a human being, and that's a big hog to do that.
That's the girl from the car wreck at the beginning of the movie. Somebody in the bar is claiming that there's a big boar running around, and everybody, of course, is going, no, there's not a pig big enough to knock down fences and eat sheep and stuff. And he's, yeah, there was. I saw it running around, and they're like, you were drunk. Like, well, yeah, I was drunk, but... So there's a little bit of comic relief in this, in the way that it's played out. That could have been very, played very intensely about, no, I saw it and had her body in the mouth. Instead, it's, you were drunk. Are you sure that's what you saw? It could have been a cow munching grass.
Well, and again, they kind of demeaning the character. And I call bullshit on that. Because, again, especially when you have people who are missing and you take stories into account, even if you don't believe it directly straight on, you say, well, maybe that was the area that they were missing in. Let's go see, kind of thing. But I tell you, I have really burned out with the people being demeaned, especially in today's times when almost anything is possible. And then the Cheez-Its, the guy who was a jerk, he threw the father-in-law, and the father-in-law at least got one verbal poke at him, called him a coward. I'm sick to death of seeing those. I mean, you can spot them. This dude's going to cause somebody to get killed, or their arm's going to be tore off, or whatever. I mean, I really, to me, I'm tired of it. I'm ready for us to find another character actor and not have those.
The ones with the most bravado characters are the ones that the minute something happens, they're going to tuck their tail and hightail it.
Well, and I think it also insults the intelligence of women because, again, every one of these dudes is, she's all armed up with him and she's loving on him and all this stuff. And, of course, women throws down play on men. They're the dumb ones. They do this kind of thing there. I think that's stereotyping that is harmful. And I don't enjoy it. Have you ever enjoyed Cheez-Its in there? Does it?
No.
I mean, they are really
Well, there's one character in the pub that's demeaning to the bar owner, and when she walks by, he swats her on the butt. And she turns around and gives him 50 Shades of Hell, and then punches him out. And she happens to punch him out just as the big guy comes in. And she says, "Take him, get the trash out of here." So he picks him up, carries him out, sets him down,
Nicely.
pats him on the shoulder, and goes back in to do his business.
And again, not trying to color myself, but I have been in quite a few honky tonks, at least in the South. Most of the time, men don't allow other men to do that from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know there were two that were telling him to stop it, but
they didn't get up to do anything.
yeah, it's you don't disrespect people like that. I don't think that's part of the fantasy that I think that needs to stop. And the only reason why I'm saying that, bringing this up, is political correctness is everywhere, and you want to know why people have these false beliefs about things. Well, it's right there, and it's common. It's the Cheez-Its almost in every film. The women catch hell, every one of them that works at a bar. People know that those folks are trying to make a living, you know. But yeah, that throws my bullshit meter off. I'm not too keen on. It's awful funny. They sitting there talking about him drinking, and everybody in the bar is drunker. And they just steadily.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she decides to go and find her daddy, they all talk about, well, drinks are on the house, and here they go. So I guess all of them are pretty well inebriated or what have you. But she did find that big hog.
She did.
She did find that big hog.
All right. Well, did this movie need to get made? That's an interesting question here, because on the surface, I would say no. But then also it's a fun movie. It's a movie that I haven't seen any horror movies with a big hog in it.
Ever?
I've seen movies where the hogs were a secondary character, like
Razorback.
Or Hannibal, where they fed bodies to the hogs.
Yeah. Deadwood.
But the hog was not the lead actor, so to speak.
Well, I pointed out Razorback. I've seen several of them down through the ages. Now, I've never seen one like this. It was almost like the hog was pushing to be a good guy in there, or whatever. But again, man, I'm telling you, and I know I'm getting off on a tangent here, but Australia scares the hell out of me. They got so much stuff down there that will kill you. And then they're saying, well, there ain't nothing out there but a few roos. And man, there's black mambas all over the place down there. You saw in the bar, them big spiders that's up there. It's the size of a raccoon. It's not hard for me to believe that there's a huge hog out there. When somebody comes along saying it. It's pretty remarkable how gullible they are. Of course, now down here in Louisiana, we all got alligators chained up in our front and backyards too.
That's what everybody thinks.
Yeah, that's what everybody thinks.
I had a friend in high school that they moved from Pennsylvania, and she said she cried all the way down here because she thought the whole state was a swamp, and that she would have to fight off alligators every day, and that they were all going to get malaria from the mosquitoes.
Well, at one point in time in history, you would have got malaria probably, and that they get bad down here. But thankfully, You know, we don't have gators, at least in Jonesboro, like they do in the Chapel Basin.
Well, the only place I've ever seen alligators was at the zoo. So
Me and my daughter filmed one less than 6 miles from my house right here, just right down the road. A big gator.
well,
I
not
mean,
saying-
they are out and about, but generally you never see them. I mean, you know, but I wouldn't want to either. So
Well, that's another reason that I don't like to swim in the lake. I want to be able to see the bottom, see whatever's out there and everything.
I have to admit, my old age, swimming pools and more so hot tubs are a much finer
Yeah.
toy than going out there getting in them creeks. But we did. I mean, when I was a kid, we swam in them. I know alligator snapping turtles are everywhere. As a matter of fact, that show that me and you were looking at your home had that alligator snapping turtle had bit a hold to him, wasn't turning. And that's something that they always said, that, you know, when they bite you, they don't turn loose to lightning strikes. You know, I know that's old wives' tale, but they hang on. I ain't no telling how many of them things we swam over the top of, because they're everywhere.
Fortunately, they are mostly shy, but stuff like
Well, most stuff is shy, but
stuff like water moccasins will go after you.
yeah, they will.
So, all right.
Now, in my opinion, yeah, this movie is entertaining. So yeah, I think it needed to get made. I do think that the director or the crew or whatever, they and they did kind of right there at the end of it. They, you know, there's Hog number 2. So I mean, they have everything they need for a sequel.
Yeah.
But now I would like to see if they do decide to make a sequel. I do think that you know, it's they need to have a little bit more plot in there, other than just
Big hog knocking cars off the road.
yeah, that kind of thing. But again, you know, I really like the fact that this intellectual hog has got something going on. Maybe that could be a
it
part
wasn't
of it.
a stupid hog.
No, it's
But from
well,
you
it's not
having-
so much intelligence; it's emotional connection. Like he had empathy for the people he was killing.
As a hog hunter yourself, and I'm not a hunter, so would something like that just stand behind a tree and watch people approach?
No. You noticed in the movie where the hog is chasing you. I mean, you know, he's chasing, and it's they like a bolt of lightning. And they have them sharp tushies, and they will rip you to shreds with them. Now, most of the time, especially if you're in a forested area, you just grab a tree and swing around, and the hog runs right on by you. Now, at one point, I had about a 90-pound shoat in the back of a truck that I was putting in a dog pen so that we could take it home and batten it up. And that sucker turned around and ran at me. I had to slap him upside his little nose and spin him back around and hit him back in a different direction. So, you know, if we really had hogs as big as that, I never would have went in the woods. But no, they're not going to just stand there and look at you. That's they're not going to sit there and empathize with you either. They'll leave the country.
Or make you leave the country.
Yeah, well,
All right.
So, but you definitely need to watch this movie all the way to the credits anyway, so that you can see the little sneak peek and realize that there was a second big hog in there, which is kind of surprised me in it. But and this is something that we hope to have on the channel in the future. I'm wanting to have like a kill of the week or whatever. But when that bar owner hit that hog with that truck down in the middle of the swamps, and knocked him out of his britches. That was, I mean, I have never seen that happen in a movie before. Have you?
No.
I mean, she
really.
cleared. She had to jump over
Dukes of
trees.
Hazzard, yeah.
She had to jump over trees to hit that hog, and it's out of the blue. I mean, just.
But let me ask about the plausibility of this, because they were down kind of in a ravine a little bit.
There's no way that truck would have got down there or else got back out.
Well, I don't know. You know, they got some mighty trucks.
That was a standard stock truck. It had slicks on it, saying ain't no way that thing would have made it. Well, maybe it could have jumped off in there, but she had to be. I mean, you know, sometimes it's hard to hit something with a rifle, let alone a truck going down the road.
How did she see that they were down there? That's what I'm asking.
Again, she kind of jumped over the top of them. You know, it was a surprise.
You know, you would think with them lower than the road and behind a few trees, sort of, she would have driven right on past.
Again, I was not expecting her to hit that hog
Right.
with, you know, do the.
So plausibility, you have to suspend your belief. But,
Yeah, it's kind of like
you're watching this, you're going to have to suspend your belief anyway.
the bullshit meter's kind of going off on that.
Yeah.
But it was an awesome thing to see. I will say that. Pretty damn remarkable. I mean, at that point in time, I will say this: the girl kind of had to cheese it out of her mind. She's going on with her life at that point, or whatever. So
maybe you should explain cheese it.
Well, again, my definition of a Cheez-It is, and they're easy to spot. They're a character that's in a movie or a story or whatever that you know that they are going to either get somebody killed or get somebody harmed in some way, or going to betray you. They're the ones that turn coward and will negotiate with the enemy to betray everybody. When my kids were younger, we had the Mental Warlord, Colonel Warlord's zombie troop, you know, just goofing off and playing and stuff. And one of my nephews I clearly identified him as a Cheez-It, and he had to remain 300 yards away from me at all times. It's the only way I would allow him to continue with us. And he would holler, I'm not a Cheez-It. You are a Cheez-It. You're going to get somebody killed in there. Because they're constantly doing stupid stuff. They're the ones who argue with everybody. It doesn't make a difference what's going on. They're going to argue with it. And they're going to do the stupid thing. And
So they're the character in the movie that you keep hoping gets killed.
Well, and again, being completely not politically correct, they're the one, I would take them out immediately. I mean, it's when I spotted them, you know, like I say, it takes a heartbeat, but to do so. But when you spot them, there ain't no point of even trying. You know, you don't need him for nothing. All he's gonna do is get you killed. You know, he's the one who sneaks off and eats the last 18 Twinkies out of the box that when there's no other food, all because he's hungry. Narcissistic son of a gun. So, yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Again, I would probably do a 3 out of 5 Frosty the Snowman, except she hit the hog with a truck. Okay, so it's got to go up. So either 4 out of 5 or 8 out of 10. And I do recommend this movie. I think it's fun to watch. I will say this, you know, because this is my department. No female action, no skin action, nowhere in it. there was a little bit of joking going on in the bar, but there's no stimulation, eyeball stimulation for males anywhere throughout.
Well, yeah, about the only thing that they talked about was that the female body in the hog's mouth, he said that her titties were hanging down, swinging around.
Yeah.
So that was about it. There's a swimming scene, and the arrogant boyfriend, of course, is sitting there in his bathing suit, but that may or may not be.
Again, he's a cheese-it.
Yeah.
He was constantly picking on the little brother, who, by the way, his name was Bart. That's a plus. And I may have changed my snowman. It's getting closer to 4. I got a lot of positive things going on this show.
Well, I'm going to give it 6.5 out of 10. Because of the silliness factor. But on the other hand, I like creature movies. I like.
Well, and this was a silly movie. I mean, it's.
Well, and it didn't do much for you were talking about everything in Australia will kill you. Well, this is not a movie for come to Australia, have a good time.
No, it definitely is not a touristy kind of thing.
But I will give it extra points for some interesting kills. And then the car jump at the end with the young lady. Although, again, it's at night, she's driving down the road, and how the hell did she see those people down there? So,
again, that bullshit made her going off. I really don't think there was a whole lot of thought that went into that part of it.
There was some implausibility at a couple of points, but it's worth watching because it's fun. It's what I would call a popcorn movie. It's not going to be so scary that you're going to throw your popcorn all over the place unless you are really, really easily sensitive. Just a lot of fun to sit and watch.
And again, I think it's like if you were dating, it would be a good first date kind of movie.
A little scary, she'll grab your arm and a little silly.
No, I don't remember any jump scares in it that amounted to anything.
Well, him opening the door and the hog is right there.
But again, it's kind of like it scared him. He opens the door and he kind of jumps, and then you see the hog sitting there. Just see, I told you I was gonna make him jump, kind of thing. It did tickle me. It did tickle me that a couple of the characters said, do these hogs get this big? And the guy looked at, no, but here he is.
Here he is.
No reasonable explanation of why a hog grows to that size. And I do agree with what they were saying in the bar. If you had a hog that big, somebody is going to see him somewhere. But I mean,
kind of hard to hide an elephant.
Well, yeah, it's especially one that's they don't just up and all of a sudden decide to become violently aggressive. It's either they're violently aggressive animals or they're not. And so you would have seen a lot more than fences tore down and that kind of thing going on.
And the bar owner, after she ran him over, got out of the vehicle and was like, "They were right. They were right."
Yeah.
Okay. So
exactly.
All right. So we're recommending this one.
I also want to encourage you to check out the movie. Give us some comments on it. Are we right? Are we wrong? What did you think about it? give us some of them comments.
Mhm.
Like, subscribe. You know, we're a baby channel, brand new baby. We need to grow. Also, the content that we're covering. We're going to be doing some different things on here. These spoiled rotten reviews that we're doing. A lot of people don't appreciate them, but guys, it's just too much fun to talk about this kind of stuff. And I know one of the things that has turned me off to some of the reviewers is they say the same thing over and over and over again, without really saying anything. So we're not going to try to drag these things out for length or whatever. I mean, this is kind of a quick shout out. I've been seeing the advertisements for Sinners coming out. I'm looking forward to that movie. How about you, Possum?
Oh, yeah. I'm really looking forward to that. Of the ones that have come out recently, and we'll be doing some more up to date reviews. Maybe Hard Eyes or the Smile movies, things like that.
Okay.
So we'll see. We're, like you said, we're young, we're growing, and we like to sit around and discuss movies anyway. So we'll see how things go.
All right, my friends. Till next time.
Stay frosty.